I'm here at the church, inside our baptismal tank, in order to show you a place where I was some of the most afraid in my whole life. Now, you may think this strange because I'm a pastor and all like that, but yes, when I got baptized, going into the water and getting baptized in front of all those people and in front of the Lord was one of the most scary things that I ever did in my life. I remember just quaking so violently and trembling, and it wasn't because I was cold or the water was cold. I was afraid. I was literally afraid and shaking. Fear is one of those things that is too complex for just a little devotion to capture the whole essence. In Psalm 112, it really begins with, of course, praise the Lord, but blessed is the man who fears the Lord, who greatly delights in his commandment. Now, I had made a true profession of faith, and I wanted to serve the Lord with all my heart and everything, all my being, and yet I was afraid. And so all fear is not wrong fear. Blessed is the man who fears the Lord. And there is a right trembling before the Lord, I believe, as we recognize his holiness, his power, his majesty for us. Psalm 112 also contains some things that we do not need to be afraid of. And I think that this is linked with our true fear of the Lord that helps us not to be afraid of things in this world of which we don't need to be afraid. Now, as I said, there's good fear. You should be afraid to put your hand on a burning stove or in a fire. It's not good for you. But there are things of which we stress about that we don't need to be frightened. And so let's look at that right in Psalm 112. Some of you may be facing something that you don't need to be afraid of, even now, even today, even this week. Look down at verse 7, Psalm 112, verse 7. He is not afraid of bad news. Aha! His heart is firm, trusting in the Lord. His heart is steady. He will not be afraid. This is really instructive for us. You don't need to be afraid of bad news, personal health news, someone else's health news, bad news on the TV, bad news in the community, bad news in your family. You don't need to be afraid. The Lord instructs us that our heart can be steady during those times. Our heart is devoted to the Lord. Our heart has proper respect and fear of the Lord. And if we really truly fear Him alone, then we don't set up any idols to be afraid of or to fear, even bad news. So don't let bad news take the place of a proper fear of the Lord. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Come once again to remember the waters of baptism where you trembled, or I trembled before the Lord, and committed once more to putting the Lord first in my life and in your life. Then you won't need to be worried or afraid of bad news. You won't even have to be anticipating being upset by it. You'll just have proper fear of the Lord. And that is where Psalm 1 begins. That is Psalm 112 begins. Blessed is the man who fears the Lord, delights greatly in his commands. Let's have proper fear of the Lord, and then we won't need to be afraid of bad news. And the Lord bless you today as you face whatever may come, the right perspective and the proper fear of the Lord.